The night he decided to print the flyers was the same night he accepted that he would probably die alone, because the city had already taught him what humans did to things they could not name. And still his hands shook as he watched the thin paper slide from the machine, each sheet carrying words that felt heavier than any weapon he had ever carried. He had once been a navigator, trained to read stars and currents of space. But now he was broken, his body uneven, his skin scarred where regeneration had failed, his left side weak after the crash that burned his ship into the earth and erased his life in a single moment. When he first crawled from the wreckage, glowing and bleeding, humans screamed, and then they shot him, and the pain taught him faster than language ever could. He learned to hide beneath cities, in tunnels that smelled of rust and water, feeding on discarded power cells and scraps, listening to human voices echo above him, laughing, arguing, loving, living, while he existed in between moments like a ghost that never asked to be born. His kind bonded once, only once, and his mate had died in the fire of re-entry, her signal gone before he could reach her, leaving a silence in his mind that never faded, a hollow ache that followed every breath. Years passed like slow wounds. Humans called him a monster when they glimpsed him. Children threw stones. Hunters chased him for sport when rumors spread. Soldiers fired first and asked nothing. He grew weaker each season, his core cracked, his energy leaking in quiet pulses that left him dizzy and cold. Still, his heart refused to shut down. He watched humans from the shadows. He watched how they touched each other when they were afraid. He watched how they stayed even when staying hurt. He did not understand all of it, but he understood enough to want one thing he had lost. Not control, not safety, not power. Just a partner with no conditions, no cages, no ownership, no fear. That was why the flyers existed. Simple words, honest words. He taped them to walls at night, his limp slowing him, his vision blurring when drones passed overhead. The first flyer burned in the rain before dawn. The second was torn down and posted online with laughing captions. The third brought soldiers who chased him through alleys until his lungs burned, and his bad leg gave out. A bullet tore through his thigh, and he hid in a drain, biting back a scream as water filled his mouth, waiting until the soldiers left him for dead. He healed slowly, painfully. Still he printed more flyers. The city turned his search into a rumor, then into a threat, then into a bounty. Officials spoke on screens about safety and purity. Kings and councils argued about weapons and control. They said he was testing humanity. They said he was a trap. They said he was dangerous because he wanted something without rules. Humans came at night to hunt him, not out of fear, but excitement. He was stabbed once and left bleeding on concrete while people filmed and laughed. He survived because his body refused to fully shut down, even when his spirit wanted to. Then, on a night when his energy core flickered like a dying star, and he could barely stand, he saw a woman reading one of his flyers under a broken streetlight. She did not laugh. She did not run. She folded the paper carefully as if it mattered. She had dark circles under her eyes and hands that trembled the same way his did. When he tried to back away, she spoke softly, saying she was not armed, saying she had lost her family to rules written by men who never saw the streets, saying she did not want to save him or own him or use him. She just did not want him to face the end alone. The sound of drones cut the air before he could answer. Soldiers poured into the street, weapons raised, shouting orders. The woman stood between them and him without thinking, and something ancient stirred inside his broken core. His kind hid the truth of their bond power because it burned life itself. To protect chosen connection, he had sworn never to use it. But as a rifle struck her shoulder and she fell, crying out in pain, the choice vanished. He released the seal. Time slowed. Bullets bent away from her body. The street cracked under invisible force. Soldiers were thrown back, stunned and terrified. The release tore through him, burning what little strength he had left. His vision dimmed. He collapsed beside her, his skin losing color, his heart skipping like a failing engine. She crawled to him, ignoring the pain in her arm, pressing her forehead to his, saying she chose him, no conditions, no commands, no fear, even if it meant dying together. The bond formed, not by instinct, not by law, by choice. The power changed. The burn eased. The core stabilized. The street fell silent. Soldiers watched in fear as the alien rose slowly, still weak, still scarred, but standing. He did not strike them. He shielded them when a building collapsed from the shockwave. He saved the men who hunted him. Cameras captured everything. Humans saw the truth they had been told was impossible. His species had never come to conquer. They guarded worlds by binding themselves to them, choosing connection over control. The rulers had lied because they feared anything they could not command. The alien walked away with the woman beside him, leaning on her as much as she leaned on him, leaving the city quiet behind them. The flyers remained on walls the next morning, torn and soaked, but people stopped laughing when they read them. Some cried, some wondered, some finally understood that in a universe built on fear and conditions, hope was born when the broken beings chose each other without chains.